Hi everyone, and welcome to an impromptu pirate and training video. A lot's happened over the last couple of days, so I wanted to give a video, and I also have some footage of me going through some of the rehabilitation process. Now, videoing has been slightly difficult simply because obviously it's fine videoing me, it's my right to do so. However, because I am in quite close proximity to other patients, I have to be very sensitive to their rights as well. So although it's been more difficult, which is why I'm outside, because I feel it's the most appropriate place to kind of record this, mainly because my bedmate is still asleep. So I've come outside into the lovely gardens here at the Douglas Bader Rehabilitation Centre. So my first week has been fantastic, with a slight negative end to the week. So I'll go through a little bit of the actual processes of what I've been. So when I arrived, they give you an assessment to obviously gauge where you are. Now, because of my age, obviously it's a little bit more difficult to gauge, because a lot of the people that are here are quite a bit older than myself. So I was introduced to the actual rehabilitation gym, which is fantastic. I got to do some core work, which you'll see video of now. I think that for years, I've juggled for years since I was a teenager, and I've always had quite good balance. So I found myself doing far better on some of the equipment than I thought. There was one where it's a big kind of exercise board, like the ones that they use in yoga and Pilates, and what you had to do was sit on it and basically give up all of your balance. So you're basically balancing yourself with your core, so staying as straight as possible, and then you roll it onto one of your hips and then roll it onto the other. I found that not easy, but I felt that I was good at it. They then moved me on to being able to, whilst balancing on there, lifting a weight above my head and bringing it back down again. They also introduced me to what's called a wobble board. So basically I was one-legged, obviously, balancing on that board, which again I seem to do very, very well at. However, yesterday, whilst doing that, one of the physios said, "Oh, you're doing really well at that, so let's take it up a notch." And what they decided to do was to get me to pick up a medicine ball off the floor. So to do a dip, pick up the medicine ball, raise it above my head, bring it back down again. I did it 3 times absolutely fine. On the 3rd time, instead of going straight down, I rolled my shoulder. So I basically twisted my body forwards. At that point, the actual wobble board itself leaned a bit forward, and I fell. Now, it was semi-controlled because I saw what was about to happen. I grabbed the rail, and because I was literally about to land directly onto my stump. So I was able to move myself enough, but I still hit the corner of my stump, full weight on top of it. I've suffered chronic pain for many years and have been in serious pain for a long time. That was possibly the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. I'm proud of myself that I didn't swear until I was put into a side room, and then I let rip. But it was just the intensity of the pain, because obviously it was 2 weeks yesterday that I had the operation, so the bone's still pretty fresh. Bones take a long time to heal, and I hit directly on the actual bone. Managed to split the actual sutures and dissolvable stitches, which is kind of becoming problematic because they used dissolvable stitches, and the reason why they used that makes sense in a way, because I was elective, so it wasn't an emergency. They had plenty of tissue and skin to play with, so they don't have to worry about so much tension and everything else. Problem is, soluble stitches are not as strong as standard stitches, so they're more likely to kind of buckle and split, and this is what happened. So they've patched me up. I was in a lot of pain yesterday. They had to give me morphine. I was getting ridiculous phantom leg pain, which I'll go on to in a minute. Actually, we'll talk about that a little bit as well, or maybe I'll make a separate video. So I was getting ridiculous phantom pain. It felt like I was having hot needles dragged down the front of my foot, and at the same time it was being compressed. So I was not in a good way yesterday. I was more annoyed than anything, simply because my wife and kids were coming over yesterday afternoon and we were planning to go out on a meal, because the good thing about this hospital is you can go home on the weekends if you meet certain criteria, and you can go out for a few hours. Now, I've only been here a week, so I can't go home yet, but I could go out. So I was really upset that obviously I was in pain and I felt I'd spoilt the meal. Now, we did go out. We managed to have a really nice meal, although I was in a lot of pain, and I noticed that I was bleeding in a few areas still. This was like 7-8 hours after the initial incident. The bleeding seems to have stopped, which is a good thing. So moving forward, I'm to take rest, as much rest as I can, which I am doing, and then hopefully on Monday I might be able to restart the rehabilitation process, because they are wanting to start what they call PAM aiding, which is simply a metal cage with an inflatable support that you put your leg into to get used to using a prosthetic, which I'm really looking forward to. So on the whole, I've had a really positive week. Had a bit of a setback yesterday, but these things are going to happen. This is the thing that I always said. It's one thing being positive, but it's how you recover when something doesn't go your way. Yes, yesterday sucked, and I did cry. It got me really upset because I didn't want it to ruin the positivity, but I don't think it has. I've woken up in a far better frame of mind, and today's going to be a great day. It's going to be a day of rehabilitation, reflection, and just making sure that I don't make the same mistakes again. I think the biggest thing to take away from it is you can't take your eye off it for a second. You have to be focused all of the time. I love the actual surroundings. I think the hospital is fantastic. I've had a few problems with medication, simply not getting it on time, but that's a nitpick. That's something that I am sorting out. Had a bit of a run-in with the doctor. I had a bit of an argument. The argument was about CBD. Now, to be very, very brief about it, CBD is a compound found in cannabis. It's a non-psychoactive product, unlike THC, which is what the element of cannabis which makes you high. CBD is something that I take to help take the edge off pain, also helps relax me. And I'm a big advocate of that. I'm a big advocate of cannabis in general, but CBD being completely legal in the UK, although the legislation has changed due to the NHS changing its stance on the actual product itself. The doctor here had no idea what it was, what it did, and basically had a go at me and treated me a little bit like a junkie, which I didn't take too kindly to. And my response was simply, well, do you know anything about it? No. Well, then go and research it and come back to me when you do. So I'm awaiting round 2. But I take it alongside my other medication. It doesn't interact with any of the medication. It just helps me cope a lot better with pain. And it helps me relax, which is a big element of recuperation and recovery. So, yeah, that's my week kind of in a nutshell. I am going to make another couple of videos, one going on about phantom pain and explaining what exactly it is. And I'm also going to be doing another video basically starting off next week. Again, I'm going to be recording myself, but it depends obviously on who's around me and what I can actually do, but I will try and capture as much as I possibly can. The actual wound itself, up until yesterday, me being a div and falling over, is looking really good. However, they did notice a little bit of pinkness on one side, so they're starting me on antibiotics as a precautionary measure, just in case it is infected. But the realisation is that my foot was severely infected when it was amputated, therefore it's not out of the realms of possibility that the actual limb itself is infected. But we'll deal with that as and when we can, and to the best ability that we can. I'm starting on amoxicillin, so we'll take it from there. But again, I have to reiterate, this is not going to be easy. I never thought it was going to be easy. I always knew there was going to be challenges, and I always knew there was going to be setbacks. It sounds very cliched, but it's not. Falling down is always going to happen. You're on one leg, for God's sake. But it's how you get yourself up, it's how you treat. Every positive or negative thing is one step closer to me achieving my goal, which is being able to walk again, which is being able to leave here in a far more mobile state than I entered. And I can honestly say I've done more stuff in the last week than I've been able to do in the last 6 months, a year, 2 years. So I don't regret this for a second. I wholeheartedly think I made the right decision. I think there's a cat being attacked by a crow that I can hear. Anyway, I'll end it there. Thanks so much again for watching the videos. Please like and subscribe. Spread the word. I will send out the phantom leg pain probably either later on today or in the next couple of days, and we'll go a bit more in depth as to what it is, what my sensations are, what my experience is with it, and tweaking medication. But until then, I'll catch you next time. Have a great weekend. Take care.